What's going on, guys? So it's just me today, and on my agenda I have some work to do on my Civic. So as you guys saw at the beginning of the video, my Civic takes a little bit to start, and not only does it take a little bit to start, the brakes are pretty darn squishy, and I think it's got pretty low compression. It burns a lot of oil, and the worst issue that it has is the clutch is toast. So I'm going to show you guys what we got going on. All right, so I'm going to be replacing this climate control because the knob on mine is broken, or the slider. This actual piece that you would use to slide is broken off. I can show you what I mean in car. So continuing on, I have a brand new clutch kit that comes with a throwout bearing, a clutch alignment tool. You've got this is the clutch bearing, not the throwout bearing. This is the throwout bearing. We got some grease and then a clutch from Exetti. So I highly recommend this. This is an OEM style clutch made in Japan. As you can see right there, Osaka, Japan. This is the home of the Kanjo loop, if you guys are familiar. Really good OEM style clutch. I think this was about $100 on Rock Auto. I'd have to check the price. I can correct that on the screen here. All right, as for the brakes, I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with my brakes. They could just need to be bled. There's a lot of things that could be wrong with them. Right now, the pedal is super squishy. I gotta pump it 5 or 6 times to get any pressure. And I've been daily driving it like that for a minute, which I do not recommend to any of you guys. Brakes are the #1 component on your vehicle that you want to stay in tip-top shape. So do as I say, do not do as I do. What I've been doing is super sketchy, and honestly, if it weren't for the fact that I had a manual car that I could downshift to slow down in, I probably would have not been able to pull this off for as long as I have. So it could be the brake booster, it could be this, it could be that. We're gonna figure it out today. And yeah, so whatever it may be, I do have these LS Integra brakes, which are the same as Civic SI brakes or EG SI brakes. The difference is the knuckles a little bit different because the calipers are bigger and the rotors are also bigger on the LS Integra and SI, Civic SI, compared to the stock CX brakes that are on here, because this is an EG, well, this is a Civic CX, which is also the lightest one, which will come into play here pretty soon. I got some pretty cool things I'm going to share with you guys about the EG. But yeah, I have some spare ball joints laying around, so I threw one onto this one because the threads were super messed up. These rotors, they could use a resurface. Otherwise, they look pretty decent. The calipers look good. The pads on them look good. So if we end up swapping over to them, I'll let you guys know. The only reason I don't want to swap them is because I'm here alone, and bleeding your brakes by yourself is a little bit of a challenge. But if it comes to that, then we'll have a little bit of a DIY tip for you guys. But I am going to quit the talking. I'm going to get the EG set up so that we can start pulling things apart on it. And then, well, actually, before I do that, I'm going to show you guys what engine we're going to be putting in. So I'll get right to that. So I apologize in advance about the lighting. The lighting in our shop is a work in progress. We're working every single day to try and get the lighting better. But as of right now, we kind of just have to deal with what we got. So I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown. This is the original swap that came in my EG when I bought it. If you guys remember watching the EG video when we first came out with it, this motor was knocking by the time I got it home. Which you guys are probably wondering, why would you put an engine in that was knocking? It was knocking because it had no oil. The rod bearings look fine. It wasn't knocking super bad. It was just knocking because there wasn't any oil in it, and it's a Honda, so Hondas are Hondas. I checked over the rod bearings. They seemed okay, but at the end of the day, this thing could still knock after we put it back together. But before I get it in the car, I gotta take the transmission off, put a new clutch on, and I also have to make sure the head gets retorqued, and then I'm just gonna check the timing over, and then we will start pulling this apart. I don't wanna pull this thing apart until this thing is ready to drop in. So with that being said, I've got work to do. I am gonna get this transmission off, and I'm gonna put the new clutch on, and then I will do my rounds, and we'll probably get to work on this EG. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do to this engine is check the torque spec on the head. We already redid the head gasket on this as well as the timing belt, but some days you're better than others, so it doesn't hurt to check twice. So I'm set at 53 foot-pounds, which is the final torque spec for this engine. I think the first torque spec is like 30. You do it in 2 steps, but I'm just gonna go over 53 foot-pounds. It'll probably take a little bit of torque because it's been sitting for a while. And also it looks like I'm gonna need an extension, so I will be right back. Good. 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 That was a little bit. That was a little bit. That was a little bit. So I'm just going one more time and then I'm going to go back on and then next time. All right, so after farting around with this for a little bit, I think I've got it properly timed and properly tensioned. I don't think I do. I know I do. I'm going to show you guys how you check timing on these D-Series. The timing was not only off on this, but it wasn't tensioned right, which I'm not sure what ended up happening there, but it's all good now. Basically, there's a little mark down here. You can just barely see it. See, you can see the mark right there. And you want to line that mark up with that arrow right above it. I will point to it in the video. And then there's 3 arrows on the camshaft. You line those up with the arrows accordingly. One here, 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 and then that says up, that points up. Then you put your belt on. Once you have everything in time, you put your belt on. And you loosen this tensioner bolt about 180 degrees. And then you want to rotate the crankshaft counterclockwise, okay? So you're gonna be loosening this crank pulley bolt, right? You wanna rotate it counterclockwise, not clockwise, otherwise it won't tension properly. You wanna rotate it counterclockwise about 3 teeth, 1, 2, 3, and then you tighten this bolt up to the torque spec, which is I think 33 foot-pounds. I'm about to torque it right now. Sorry for the background noise. And then you should be nice and tight all the way around. And then you want to do a 360 and check that you're still in timing, check that it's not skipping. If you do not tension it properly, it'll skip timing right away and you'll have issues almost immediately. So this engine should be good to go now. The timing is good. The head has been torqued. I'm just going to make sure the water pump is torqued properly, as well as this tensioner bolt. And then I'm going to throw everything back together and then get the transmission off. All right, so I'm just going to give it a quick turning, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Basically, if it's bad, you'll know right away. If it's not, if you didn't tension this properly, this belt will like it'll jump. The belt will jump just from you checking to see if it's good. So again, we're rotating counterclockwise. You're going to be loosening the crank bolt. What I do is tighten up the crank bolt with your gym pack and then get your 1/2 inch on there, and you probably won't make enough torque with your arms to be able to loosen this, but you'll be able to rotate it counterclockwise without loosening it. So we'll just rotate it. As you can see, this is when there's no tension. Do you see how there's still, you know what I'm talking about? You'll start to feel it tension up. You got good tension here. Barely any play here. Now, you don't want this to be insanely tight. This spring does its job. You don't need to push up on this or anything. The spring does its job. The way that this was manufactured was so that it could be done in the car. So it's not rocket science. It really isn't. Doing a timing job isn't rocket science. But I'll keep rotating. Boom. You can see everything is good. Just like that. And then we'll line the timing bar, the belt back up on top. We're just about in time on the top. We are in time on the bottom. Boom, boom, boom. Everything lines up. I will just quickly, as you can see, timing is good still. All of our marks line up. You can just barely see that mark right there. I'll point an arrow to it again. Our tension is good all the way around. It didn't skip while we were doing it. The belt is good. Now all I got to do is torque up this bolt and we should be good to go. And then I can get the crank pulley back on, torque that to spec, get the timing cover back on, and then I'll be ready to remove the transmission from this thing. All right, what's going on, guys? So it's been a minute since I picked up the camera, and actually this time around I'm picking up a different camera. My girlfriend actually got me a GoPro Hero 9, so quality of the videos is going to be upgrading. Kudos to her. The greatest birthday present I could ever ask for. I mean, all I needed was a camera to improve the videos, and the camera is going to give me the motivation to get my editing skills back. So you guys are in for a real treat. But like I said, it's been a minute since I picked up the camera. I picked something else up. You guys can see it in the background too. So I'll show you guys what we got going on here. This is my brand new Honda Crx Hf. This is a an 85 HF with 205,000 miles on it. I bought this from my old shop teacher. He's had it for a while. This thing was the school car that a lot of the kids worked on, fiddled with. He was hyper-miling this car, used it as an airport car. He did a timing belt with water pump on it before he sold it to me. But this thing is sweet, man. What I have planned for today is I'm going to get the tape removed here. As you can see, there's duct tape on it and whatnot. I'm going to get the tape removed, and I'm going to get this thing cleaned up because it's clean as a whistle. This is a rust-free California car. You guys can see that. This is a rust-free car. And you guys know that we don't get a whole lot of rust-free cars around here. So I'm going to get this thing power washed up because I do believe that there was some salt residue on the road when I drove it home. We get this thing washed up, and it's probably going to stay here at my mom's house because I'm not sure if I want to bring it to the shop just because the roads have salt on it. So I'm going to get it washed up, and then I'll throw the plates on it because I did register it. Maybe I'll take you guys for a ride. All right, y'all, so I'm gonna get this tape taken off and then get this thing washed up. I was just making a couple side shots for the real side and for the shorts. You guys know how it goes. But yeah, this thing's got VX or HX wheels on it. Actually, they might be VX wheels, correct me if I'm wrong. They're either VX or HX, whatever one is the lighter one. But you can see that these are 13x5 aluminum wheels that only weigh a whopping 9 pounds a piece, meaning that these are the lightest Honda wheels that you could get from the factory, and they were manufactured by Enki, so this is a pretty sweet set to be rocking on the CRX HF. The CRX HF comes in at a whopping 1,713 pounds curb weight. Now that's with a full interior. This thing doesn't even have a full interior, and it's rocking the super light wheels. So what do you guys think it weighs? On top of being one of the lightest cars that you could get at the time, this thing came with the single cam 12 valve gas sipping machine. This thing can get anywhere from 45 to 60 miles to the gallon. And if you are hypermiling it with your driving style, you could get anywhere from 60 to 80 to even 100 miles to the gallon, depending on how you drive. And how you drive is with a 5-speed manual transmission, which is something that us car enthusiasts love to see and drive. Sitting at just over 200,000 miles, this Honda will probably last for another, I don't know, ever. These things don't really break. And this is a super simple engine. It's carbureted, 12-valve single cam. It doesn't get easier than this in the Honda world. Yeah, this thing's super clean. Came from California, absolutely no rust on it, no salt rust. There's obviously going to be some surface rust here and there, similar to what was on my Prelude when I got it, but this rust is sandable. That rust over on my EG right here, this is not sandable, guys. This is rotted. This whole car is rotted away. I picked this car up for $650, and it is just a rot bucket, but it's fun and it gets me from point A to point B. This car, on the other hand, will not be driven in the winter because it is so clean. I know it's got duct tape and stuff all over it, but what I see right now is a perfect CRX race car. What do you guys think? Drop it down in the comments. What should we do with it? I think we should turn it into a race car. Like I said, I got this from my old shop teacher. He said, hey man, I think this thing just needs some new life breathed into it, you know what I mean? So I think what he meant is he wanted to see this thing out on the track, which is what I want to see too. So stay tuned for that. Alright y'all, so that pretty much wraps it up for this week's video. I know it wasn't a whole lot of an exciting video, but I was able to show you guys what I was working on, which was the EG, and then it ended up turning into the CRX. The CRX is going to be a huge project on this channel, so stick around if you want to see what we end up doing with it. I think it's going to be an OEM spec restoration, maybe even a race car. We're not sure yet. The Prelude, it might get the H22A. You know, we got a lot of things planned, we got a lot of stuff to do, but I really appreciate you guys, and honestly the support has been absolutely amazing. You guys have been killing it on the shorts and the YouTube videos. I really super duper appreciate you guys. One thing that I would really appreciate is if you guys checked out our website, KayushaParts.com. It would be super helpful if you checked out the website, gave the website a click. And right now there's actually a promo going on. Use code PRELUDE, I'll throw that up on screen, for 10% off site-wide. And then also, whoever uses the code is going to get entered into a giveaway for this NRG quick release that is for an 88 to 89 Prelude. It also works with an 88 to 89 CRX, and I think a couple other Hondas. I'm not too sure, but I know for sure it works with the 88 CRX and Prelude. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the website. As you can see, I got all the parts behind me and whatnot. There's tons of parts still available, with new parts coming every single day, and I really appreciate the people that have ordered from us. You guys are a really big help, and you guys make these videos possible. But anyways, without further ado, it has been Nick. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you are new. You guys have a good week. Peace out.